Welcome to the Midday Moment. I heart you. I heart you, each of you. If this is your first time joining us, I'm your host, Dr. Davinajphd, and welcome to the Midday Moment, right here in the middle of the day, Monday through Thursday. The Midday Moment is the place where we expect great things, not because we ignore the questions of our day, not because we ignore the challenges of our day. We expect great things because we recognize that we are both fully human and fully divine. And in our fully human selves, we got stuffs. And in our fully divine selves, we got stuffs. The divine stuffs answers all the human stuffs. The divine stuffs heals the human stuffs. The divine stuffs restores the human stuffs. So the Midday Moment is designed to help you tap into the divine. When you tap into the divine, you tap into your river of peace, your river of joy, your river of hope. Yes, your river of healing, your river of deliverance, your river of restoration. And so we are so delighted that you are here with us. And we are not by ourselves. The Midday Moment is a part of a larger network called Kingdom. And we've got a menu of Kingdom inspirations that we share right here on our Facebook page. Some of you might watch via YouTube. Most of you are here on Facebook, and so we have our different commercials here so that you can partake of our different menu options that include the daily download with doctorpulley, Tuesday and Thursday prayer and praise with Elder Katrina Johnson-Smith, and a few others. All right, so join us. Come on, OGs. It's time. It's time for the Midday Moments. Come on. It's time for the Midday Moment. It's time for the Midday Moments. Oh, it's time. I'm expecting, everybody say, I'm expecting great things. Oh, I'm expecting great things. You got it, come on. I'm expecting great things. I'm expecting great things. Now, where are you expecting these great things? In my life, yeah. I'm expecting great things in my home. Oh, I'm expecting great things. And all around me, yes, I'm expecting great things. Eyes may not see, but I choose to believe. You may not see, but I choose to believe. They may not see, but I choose to believe. Sometimes I may not see, but I choose to believe. I believe in great things. Yay. All right, everybody say thank you, theme song. Thank you, theme song. Theme song says you are welcome. All right, that is Great Things by Portia Hilliard. It's been our theme song for since we've been doing this. we had a little vote. It wasn't purely scientific research, I suppose, but we cast the vote and we invited people to let us know, and everybody decided we keeping it, so we still play it. All right, so welcome to the Midday Moment. Again, we are part of a larger network called Kingdom, and various ones of us in Kingdom are now studying this particular book. We're so blessed to have amongst us various teachers, ministers, servants, just good-hearted people, all just coming together in this spiritual practice to live life and that more abundantly, to have life and that more abundantly, tapping into that river that I talked about, the river of righteousness, joy, and peace is available. And so we study ourselves, we give ourselves to our spiritual practice, fellowship, reading, writing, studying, all of that, meditating, so that we can grow and expand and experience the life that we desire and deserve. And so, one of the books, our spiritual leader is a prolific author, and so we study in his various publications, and we have other books, particularly as we practice or as we take classes in Makai, the Mind of Christ Institute. So we have different books. That we pull from, certainly from the Unity Faith, Charles Fillmore, and so there are a number of books that we pull from. So, anyways, for our direct study purposes here, we are now studying out of It's Just That Simple. You can get a copy from our presiding prelate and our spiritual teacher locally here, Dr. Deborah R. Pulley. Just email DORALPULLEY at gmail, and you can order your copy. All right, so very good books, easy readers, to help you grow and expand in your spiritual understanding, your spiritual practice, your spiritual vocabulary, spiritual applications, and all of that. So it's just that simple. This is based on the fact that very often we create very simple invitations for people to experience faith with us. And many faiths do that. And then once you come in, we make it so complicated and so dogmatic, and oh my goodness. And so what we are saying is it's easy to be invited into the faith experience, and it is easy for you to have and facilitate the faith experience. And so for us, it's just as simple as three things: loving God, the spirit of absolute good, learning to love yourself as a creation of that spirit of absolute good, and then learning to share that love with everybody else. It's really just that simple. And so we are now on page 8. And page 8 is a reinterpretation of the Ten Commandments. And we actually began to reinterpret the Ten Commandments yesterday. So you take all 10 of those commandments. First 4 about your communion with God, the spirit of absolute good. The latter 6 are about communion with each other. And so we gave you an interpretation that you can take those 10 and reinterpret them in Matthew 22 as Jesus did, which was to say that all of the laws of the Old Testament, all of the commandments, all 10 of them really can be summarized into love the Lord your God and love your neighbor as yourself. All right. And so we gave that reinterpretation. And so today's reading on page 8, when Jesus revisits the commandments from Sinai, I want to say I'm saying that right. Okay, y'all Bible scholars, y'all can help with the pronunciation. I say Sinai. That when he revisits this, he elaborates and really gives us an opportunity to see these commandments in a different light. And so I'm going to give you another way of reflecting on this interpretation of the commandments. Okay. All right, here we go. Jones rule number 1. When in previous in the Old Testament and before this Matthew 22 interpretation of love, we focused on all that you shouldn't be doing. Don't, do not, thou shalt not, thou shalt not, thou shalt not, thou shalt not. And what you see coming into page 8 is that the commandments are about what you shall. Now the best Moses could work with was thou shalt not. But the reinterpretation is all about what you shall. And we've spent a great deal of time focusing on all the nots, and we haven't considered the shalls that come from these knots. And so here we go. Jones rule number 1. I'm inviting you to interpret love, not about what you can't do, but about what you can do. Love releases you to your highest good, and you can do it. You know how sometimes we say, well, girl, I can't. You better than me. I can't do that. I'd have cussed her out. Ooh, honey, I would have given him a piece of my mind. You better than me. I can't hold my tongue on that one. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. We all have amazing potential to yield and manifest our highest good. You can. And so, a part of the opportunity that you have here with the lesson and love is to focus on what you absolutely can do instead of drowning in what you. I just went to Jones Rule number 2, actually. The first one is, instead of focusing on what you don't do, focus on what is to be done. Focus on the do. It's not about don't, it's the do. That was Jones Rule number 1. Not the don't, but the do. It's not about not doing or don't doing. It's about what it is to be done. And verse don't, you go from don't to do. From don't to do. Instead of building a vocabulary around don't, you build your vocabulary around do. Do love, do good. Yes, do honor, do respect. Instead of the don'ts, you go into the do's. Okay, you got that? I got way excited and actually went into number 2 instead of sitting here in number 1. So Jones Jewel number 1, we're converting from don'ts to do's. Love is love can be interpreted as what you do versus what you don't do. You do love, you do respect, you do honor, you do give kindness. All right, you got that? All right, now Joel number 2. Instead of focusing on the can'ts, you focus on the can. And so we go from, instead of focusing on the don'ts, we focus on the do's. Instead of focusing on the can'ts, we focus on the cans. And that's where I was in the middle of saying, when people say, I can't do that, I don't have it in me to be that nice. Yes, you can. You can be respectful. You can be honorable. You can be kind. You can be strong in your emotions. You can discipline your emotions. Yes, you can. You don't have to go off on everybody. You can. And so Jones Jewel number 1, a way to interpret the 10 commandments, a way to interpret this love focus that Jesus gives in Matthew 22 is to go from focusing on what you don't do to what you do, to go from focusing on what you can't to what you can. All right, y'all got that? Because it's about time for me to go. And then lastly, we have a tendency to look at the 10 commandments as restrictions, all about restricting you. I feel so restricted. My gosh, so restricted. But love is not about restrictions. Love is about responses and responsibility. Love is about responses, responding, and your responsibilities. Love is about your response, your responding. For example, one of the things we teach in Kingdom is that when you are acting out your will, sometimes we act on impulse, sometimes we react, but the highest level of response is to response based on our relationship. The fact that I see me in you. If I'm honest, I see me in you. And if I'm honest, I've got the same potential to do what you just did. I relate to you, and therefore I have compassion. I understand you. That doesn't mean I have to tolerate and put up with everything, but I understand. And because I understand, I'm going to help you. I'm going to respond out of love. Whether that means we take a time out, all right? But love tells us that we have an opportunity to respond and to be responsible within ourselves and with each other, to be responsible for our love, to be responsible with caring for ourselves and each other. So interpreting the 10 commandments in a different way allows you to go from don'ts to do's, from can'ts to cans, and allows you to go from restrictions to responses and responsibilities. Responding out of compassion, responding out of our relationship, our relate and our ability to relate to each other. Yep. And again, it doesn't mean that you get to just run over me and I run over you, but it means that I have a more responsible way of dealing with the situation. That is the sign of maturity. That is the sign of wisdom. I have a responsible way of dealing with the situation. And I'm responsible. I'm mature. I'm wise. I'm responsible with the information that's given to me. I'm responsible with the situations that I'm in and that I find myself in and so forth. And it's possible. And so when you live by the do's, by the can'ts, and when you live responsibly, y'all know how you have those commercials with alcohol, drink responsibly. It is possible. You can live a responsible life. Yes, you can. And responsibility doesn't restrict you. If anything, responsibility frees you. It sets you up to experience wealth without sorrow. It sets you up to experience the relationship without all the drama. It sets you up to experience good health and not have to give all your money to doctors. It sets you up for life, and that more abundantly. You got this. You can do it. You can interpret these commandments. You can practice them. You can go from don'ts to do's, from can'ts to cans, and you can go from restrictions to responsibility and responding out of relationship and our ability to relate to each other. We can do it. Yep, because it sets us up, y'all. That's the kind of stuff that'll set you up for good living. It's going to cancel out some drama. It's going to cancel out a whole bunch of stuff. If you're willing. All right? I love you. All right, got to go, y'all. I love you. Blessings to each of you. All right, y'all know what we say as we close out, because I'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow's Thursday. Yes, I'll see you tomorrow. All right? All right, take care, everybody. God bless you, and give it back to me. You got it. And God be you. Take care, everybody.